and I want to tell you our harvest story. So, harvest beer came about. We had one of our hop growers come up to us and say, about 15 years ago, telling us, you guys should make a wet hop beer with brand new hops. And we said, well, we do. Our celebration ale, which we've had for the first year we started, we don't make until the hops are harvested. So the hops are about a week old when we make the celebration ale. So we have to wait each year to the hop harvest before we can make that beer. So it's tricky with timing. He said, I understand that, but I mean a wet hop ale, the hops are picked within 24 hours of you making the beer. He was British, and he said, you know, when I was growing up, there were a couple beers that were made with hops that they had on their own farm, and they made the beer that day, and it was wet hops, and it was really a great character, oily and just dripping with hop character. You should make a beer like that. And we said, you know, that's pretty cool. We should do that. So we decided 14 years ago to make a wet hop beer, which we called Harvest Ale. So we had the hops picked up in Yakima. We had it they put them in onion sacks, and we figured, well, that's great. How are we going to get it down to the brewery within 24 hours to make the beer? Because hops there's so much oil in the hops, they'll start composting within 3-4 days and start getting bad, and then actually they catch on fire. You know, compost gets pretty hot. So we didn't know how to get these bags of hops down to the brewery. So we said, okay, we'll just UPS them. So UPS bread overnight. So we said, pick the hops, we'll UPS them, and they had to take 2 planes just for our hops. And we had, I don't know, 1,000 pounds of hops or whatever it was. And it cost us about $2,000 to get these hops down there for about 100 barrels of beer. So we lost about $200 a barrel making this beer. But the beer was fantastic. So we said, we got to keep doing this. So that was 14 years ago. We started making fresh hop harvest ale. We had devised a better way to get it down. From Yakima to Chico, we can get a truck down there in 14 hours. So we had trucks waiting up there when they were picked, started sending trucks down. So we got them down within less than 24 hours, and we've made harvest ale ever since. And I think it's, you know, and when the hops are good, I think it's the best beer we make, and it's probably the best beer I've ever had. I think it's fantastic beer. So we thought, you know, this is great, but it's too bad we can't make this beer more than once a year. So my brother was thinking, you know, Southern Hemisphere is 12 months opposite of growing season. Why don't we go to New Zealand or Australia or someplace and pick hops and do the same thing? So 3 years ago we did that. This is the 3rd year for the Southern Hemisphere harvest ale. We got hops in New Zealand. I must say, these hops are dried and we get it within 2 days of harvest, but we couldn't take the chance of having these wet hops in a plane and maybe self-combusting. So we had to dry the hops and then bring them down, but it's as fresh as you can get it. And I think you can really taste the fresh hop character in this beer. It's just fantastic. I mean, it's almost dripping with you know, hop oil, and really a good beer. As I said, 3rd year we made this. The hops each year have gotten better. The New Zealand farmers know what we want. We want a lot of alpha acid for the bitterness. We want some good aromatic qualities in these beers, so we're using 3 different hops in this. And New Zealand grows a lot of hops, so we're using 3 varieties. One called Motueka, another called Southern Cross, and another called Pacific Hallertauer, which actually they had to change the name this year to Pacifica because the German growing region has the trademark on Hallertauer. That's where they're grown. So now it's called Pacifica. So these hops are really good. I think the beer is fantastic. It's got it's an IPA style beer. It's got close to 70 BUs, and I mentioned our pale ale is 36. I think the Nautilus are with 40 or something on the Nautilus. step, and this is about 70. So quite a big step up in hop character, and I think it's a fantastic beer. It's going to go great with the spicy dish. So,